The girls heard me scream from the garage, and they came a-running. As they ran through the door, they found me staring at the car. I like my car, but it's not the car I bought. As they looked up at me, they turned to see what I was staring at as my eyes were unblinking and my jaw must have been on the floor. The car, it had no wheels. It hovered now. It just kind of hovered there. It hovered with tech I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to understand. Looking around, I realized that I didn't have a fuel tank either. What the hell is going on? That's all I could think. Guess that will actually save me a bit of money, though. Still, what the hell happened to my car? I didn't have time to think about it as a bunch of notifications came across my phone. Not believing what I was reading, we all headed inside, and I still couldn't believe what the hell I was seeing on the news and the live streams and everything else. In the middle of France, a horde of robots were spreading out from near the Eiffel Tower. They were humanoid in shape and armed with some sort of energy weapons. Behind that massive group were larger robots that were similar in shape but moved much, much slower due to the higher mass. We watched as they began to lay waste to every human or whatever was breathing that they found, that they saw. Surprisingly, there were other robots there, but these humanoids seemed to be running away from these first ones, running as though they're afraid, as though they have true fear. And they move so fluently, you could actually confuse them with humans. Many were confused, but no one had time to argue as everybody was being shot at. As the robots spread out and destroyed half a city block with an explosive, we could see a strange craft coming in. Some of the cameras turned to look at it. And, well, we may be well versed with the Tic Tacs, but something about this one was just, I don't know, off. Those with their smartphones or actual cameras or actual reporters, everybody was confused, especially when an armored and very armed silverback suddenly landed after jumping out of the craft. Somehow, it was able to handle the onslaught of the smaller machines, at least to a point. But what it wasn't expecting was that big one turned to it and basically, well, not only the gorilla, but also whoever came to help it. That big robot just tossed their salads pretty good as it chucked them farther away with some sort of strange energy weapon. As we were watching, it seemed as though there were even stranger type of reinforcements arriving to help them out just in the nick of time, I guess you could say, but so was the French military. They had been gearing up for a fight ever since the first distortion leveled Marseille and Strasbourg. Or is it Strasbourg? I forget. I don't speak French. The heavily armored French soldiers came in all guns blazing and taking absolutely no prisoners and showing absolutely no mercy as they cut through the robot lines with their hypervelocity 20mm handheld fully automatic cannons. The robot armor couldn't tank more than one or two shots before they were completely ripped apart. The energy weapons of the robot seemed to hit the armor of the military, but these are designed to tank low-yield nukes, so yeah, there wasn't a problem here. The giant robots, on the other hand, they had the firepower to swipe across the French lines like they were pushing dust off a shelf, but it didn't get a chance. From multiple directions, aircraft began dropping missile after missile into it, making it have to flinch and turn and fire around. The swarm of Gripens danced around the skies with old and new ordnance to pound the robots to the ground. As the robots tried to retaliate with their own missile swarm, the skies filled with flares and chaff. I know what this means. With no ability to lock on, the pilots have to get close and get personal. As the mist of the robots spewing energy weapons through the air, a message found its way onto one of the streams. It must have been sent from one of the pilots, and yet it was on every channel at the same time. In a heavy, heavy accent, you could hear, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts!" With this, aircraft dove in and emptied their ammo pods into the large robot. Along with that, the new energy weapons on the birds cut into those massive clunkers. So named, as it's the sound they make when they fall to the ground after being totally gangbanged by all the air support coming in. They toppled like trees as aircraft dove from above. Heavily armored soldiers pushed in, taking down their legs, tearing them apart. Multiple species use their innate physical abilities to get the wounded out, and the magic users come up with some very interesting techniques to disrupt or destroy the robot horde trashing their city. It didn't matter if they used lightning, fire, ice, any type of elementals, and some of them were able to even condense energy itself into a strange beam that cut through them like some sort of Iron Man laser. The girls and I had 4 different screens going with at least 2 streams apiece. I was just absolutely shocked at the veracity of Europe as their hour-and-a-half long battle finally ended with the last of the giant robots falling at the feet of the Eiffel Tower with a giant thud. Around the world, high-end computers had somehow morphed into humanoid robots. These robots were, for the most part, non-hostile. About half had wills of their own, while the other half still preferred to take orders and serve whoever was there. It didn't take long at all to see which ones were the nice robots and which ones wanted to kill us. In other areas of Europe, there were also swarms of seemingly square transforming war robots that pushed across small areas. If it was anywhere near a city, there wouldn't be a population for long, as these things just pumped out a hell of a lot of fire. It was interesting to see these robots in yellow go against the mouthless purple aliens in gold. Of course, the purple guys didn't fight alone. Primarily using energy blades and shields, this amalgamation charged the cannons as artillery flew over the head, and it was a robotic slaughter as they came in, slashing those strange wrist-mounted energy blades and just tearing them apart, laughing the entire time. On this continent, we didn't see much beyond my car changing, which I'm kind of still angry about. Along with seemingly every wheeled vehicle on the planet change. A few of the new machine people, and that's about it. Well, aside from a major robotic push into Germany where some strange power armor personnel with energy shields made quick work of the attacking forces, provided they were backed by the panzers that have been, shall we say, upgraded. Hell, those things were nothing to scoff at before. And now, all I can say is, yikes. Once it was over, it's nice to actually see the world starting to embrace the new realities so quickly. I mean, something happens enough time, it becomes normal, right? Sort of. Although, not always are accepting the new ones. I mean, bias still remains, especially since the new robot citizenry are apparently all male in form and in function. Although, once you think about it, I guess that will actually aid society one way, as we're still, shall we say, female heavy? Not that I mind. Besides, it's clear that women prefer a mechanical man that actually cleans itself and doesn't have to be made sure that he's dishwasher safe. We don't see a lot of the robots around these parts, but every once in a while we do see one of the folks brought into the world from their last distortion. At least in person, they act like normal folks. Though if I have to listen to another Brit say something about cavalry coming, I'm going to shoot them myself. Surprisingly, down the road, a foreigner did move in, and I really wish folks would just leave her be. I could see that she's frustrated everybody's showing up. She can't hide that bluish skin unless she uses a lot of concealer and dyes her hair because, well, some reason the color just permeates through her. When she moved in, folks talk, and most of us are nice enough to leave her with the occasional wave as we pass, just being neighborly and all. To make sure we're being neighborly, but not pushy, I actually asked the girls to go welcome her to the neighborhood. They went over with a bottle of homemade mead and a big cake that those two made. Whew, I couldn't eat that. Ooh, man, I'd be shaking for an hour. And they also brought a letter from me. They drank while they ate, and it wasn't much of a letter for me, as all it said was that it's a fairly tight neighborhood and that we have a community barbecues a lot. Also, we have some hunters, so it would be a very good idea to stay inside during the season as nobody needs an accident. The one point I did ask about was if she could actually keep an eye on the girls while I'm away at work. I have to travel, so it would really help a lot if she could check in every once in a while. I did emphasize that the girls can fight, take care of themselves, but they're still cute little things, and I put in there that the jacuzzi is free use for her as long as she follows the rules. I still don't know if it went over well or not because she hasn't shown up, but the girls did tell me that she asked about the rules and seemed to agree with them, seeing that they're reasonable. All I know is that a few folks have asked about her, and I keep having to tell them I don't know much, but seriously, just let her be. Let her know about the barbecues if you want, and let her arrive at her own pace. Though I'm starting to wonder if she's ever going to show up. I mean, it's been 3 years since she moved in. She hasn't shown up yet. Right now, I've got to go to work. Another job. It's going to take me probably 3, maybe 4 months to get everything done. I sure hope nothing happens while I'm gone. Hello, everybody. This is Syntax. Thank you for joining me on today's chapter. Before I go, I need to send out a big thank you to one of my supporters. That would be Mr. Brian Kemp. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Everyone else, I will see you on the next one. This is Syntax, ejecting.